Welcome back, baseball fans, to the Winter Baseball Classic. We're continuing to the losers bracket best of 5 into the Pacific Northwest tonight. A series between Missoula, Montana, and SeaTac. Not Seattle, not Tacoma, SeaTac. Come on now, let's get it straight. In between the airport, 707s, Missoula Mountaineers and SeaTac. Let's go see how this ended up meeting these two squads. So, out west, SeaTac was a number 4 seed. They're not very good. They lost 4-2 to Hollywood. Missoula is a 2 seed, lost 4-2 to Chula Vista, Team Mexico. So they would meet here with Missoula having home field. So let's see what happened in Game 1, opening up in Missoula. And here's lovely Missoula right here. There's a big M on the mountain right there. There's a bridge. There's a little river that runs through it. Beautiful little town. Visit in the summer, not the winter if you can. Tommy John for SeaTac, and Big Game Bob Johnson for Missoula. Very crisp, well-played game. Solo homer by Paul Blair to lead it off. RBI single by Alex Johnson, 2-zip. 6th inning, RBI double by Hal King. That's it, 2-1. Bob Johnson goes 8. Jim Brewer gets the save. Tommy John, tough loss. 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, pitched well. Home team gets a victory in Game 1. But then, in Game 2, your SeaTac 707s, they get the planes on the tarmac here. Andy Messersmith versus Alan Foster. Messersmith, a keeper of the Dodgers. Foster, one of those UDFAs trying to get into the league, and this is his little his combine. This is his spring training, trying to see if he's going to have to get into the league. And this is one of those games that wrecks my league ERA. You get a 2-run homer by Oliver, 2 runs in the bottom of the second. It's 3-3 going into the 9th, and then the final score is 10-8 as both bullpens blow up horribly. A 10-8 final for the visitors, and my tournament ERA is in shreds, even though most of this game was well pitched. So figure that one out. SeaTac gets the road win. We are tied a game apiece. And now SeaTac is at home in Game 3 with home field advantage and visiting Missoula. And now this is in SeaTac, so you see this is some airplanes here and so forth. Yeah. Bill Hands pitches on 3 days rest for the Cubs against Burt Behome by 11, a young twin. And this game, Mr. Bill Hands made a few mistakes. He gave up a 2-run homer to Hal King and a 3-run homer to Hal McRae, and that was 5 runs. And Missoula only got a 4-run inning off of Bly-11, and Bill Lee got the final out to get a save. Bill Lee as a relief starter. SeaTac, loser of Game 1, wins Games 2 and 3. And now they have a chance to win this series 3-1 in Game 4. That's what we have for you tonight, folks. Game 4, Missoula at SeaTac. Your starting pitchers, Woody Fryman. Woody Fryman for Missoula. His 71 year is very good, but his 72 year is in the Summer League, so we're not really evaluating Woody. And Tommy John. 71 John, is he still with the White Sox here? Yes, he's still a White Sox, eventually get to the Dodgers. John lost Game 1 but pitched well. He's pitching on 3 days rest, and he wants to get a win, a split, and have his team win. Let's get started. From SeaTac, leading off, Paul Blair. 58, double 1 and 2 is a base hit. B Steeler, Tony Taylor, batting second. He's going to hit and run. Runner has to steal a base. He rolls a 10. B Steeler, 13, 10. But you got a -2 on Larry Howard. He's throwing out stealing. Tough break there. So Tony Taylor swings away. 3-11 lines a second. And Marty Martinez batting third. Grounds to short. Marty's pretty good against lefties, so there's that. Bottom of 1, Wes Parker. 49, walks. Kessinger's going to do a hit and run. You see a lot more bunny hitting and running, all that sort of stuff in these games because the rosters are incomplete. Players aren't particularly good in a lot of cases. The hit and run is, yeah, that's the Lomax. Yeah, rolled a 12, but he's only a C stealer. If he was an A B stealer, would have been held, it would have been a single, but no, it's Lomax. Merv Retman, 65, rolls to second base. Not a very good start for either squad. We go to 2. It's Sal Bando. 1-3, bounces to short. Dwayne Josephson, 6'10", third X. This is Coco LeBoy, a 3.28 third baseman. He's up a single. Alex Johnson, 57 as a K. And with 2 outs, Willie McCovey, batting 7th against lefties with his 71 card. Not that great against lefties in 71. Crushes righties, of course. 312, rolls to first. If you're wondering about the lack of cards, I will show you all 20 cards of the team that gets eliminated at the end of this video. So I'm not going to show cards during the game. Harmon Killebrew, 42, skies the center. Hal McRae, 1-8, home run, automatic on his card, and SeaTac is with a lead, and you could say 21 outs away from knocking Missoula out of the tournament. Larry Howard, 2-7, double 1 at 10's a 2-base hit. Bobby Knoop, 5'10", catcher's card. Josephson's a 4'11" catcher. That's a pass ball. Runner goes to third with 2 outs, and it's Rick Monday batting 8th against lefties. 1-4 flies to right. Top of the third, Buddy Bradford. 2-9 rolls to third. Jim LaFay, 39, double 1 to 4 is a base hit. Paul Blair, his card is up for the Orioles, so they're watching this performance of him. 49, off John's a single to left field. 2 on, 1 out. Tony Taylor, 37, flies left. And with 2 outs, Marty Martinez, 2-8, pops to second base. Coco LeBoy, 53, pitcher. Coco was in the league 2 years ago. Wasn't in it last year, so he puts him back into the UDFA category. So he's auditioning to get in. I will just qualify Coco LeBoy as a third baseman versus left-handed pitching. And yeah, a guy like that can get into the league. When I say get into the league, it means the summer league. The league that runs from April through September, which is what this tournament prep is for. Wes Parker, 2-7's a single. Kessinger, 6'12", center. And with 2 outs, Merv Retman, 49, walk. 2 on, 2 outs. Harmon Killebrew, 55 off Woody Fryman, double 1 at 12 is a single dot. We have a 2-0 lead. Runners on the corners for Hal McRae, 37, flies left. 2-zip in the 4th. It's Sal Bando. 1-5 single. Dwayne Josephson, 46, second X. Bobby Knoop's a 2 second baseman, 2E24. And that is an error. Tough break for Bobby. Alex Johnson with 2 guys on. It's a 6-4-3 double play. Runner goes to third, 2 outs for Willie McCovey. 69, flies left. Another well-pitched game for Tommy John. Wants to come away with a win this time. And I can tell you that Fryman's got the 5-4 template, and Tommy John's got the 5-10 template. You're scoring at home. Bottom of the 4th, Larry Howard. 59, short X. Martinez is a 4-18 at shortstop, and that's a single. Bobby Knoop, 2-7. That's a 5-4-3 double play. Ouch. Rick Monday, 68, is a fly ball to right. We go to the 5th. It's Buddy Bradford, 1-6 is a K. Jim LaFay, 47 is a K. Paul Blair, 2-4, grounds a short. Let's go to the 5th. That's Paul's moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right, bottom of the 5th, Coco LeBoy. 57 is a K. Wes Parker, 35, homer 1 of 5 is a double. Kessinger, 67 is a K, and with 2 outs, Merv Retman. 1-7, double 1 of 7 is a double on the 7 there. 3-0. Harmon Killebrew, 65, rolls to second base. Tommy John presented a 3-0 lead in a clinching game. We have a nice bullpen. Farmer's not particularly good, but Grant Jackson, Ken Tatum, and Bill Lee are pretty decent. So we'll go to the 6th. Tony Taylor, 56, short X. Kessinger, a 2 shortstop, makes the play. Marty Martinez, 43, left X. Hal McRae's a 3, E12. Can't believe he's a 3, but he is, and makes the catch. And Sal Bando, 1-3, rolls to short. Missoula's offense is drawing blanks at a bad time here. One game, 1, 2-1, and after that, nothing. Bottom of the 6 for Woody. He's a starter 7. Hal McRae. 1-2 pops a second. Larry Howard, 67, is a K. Bobby Canoop, 1-9, is a walk. Rick Monday, 1-4, flies to right field. Is there any defense that this team can bring into the game? And the answer is no. It's already in there. So there we go. 3-zip into the 7th. 9 outs to get. Missoula needs a rally if they want to win this game and force Game 5 back to Montana. It's Dwayne Josephson. 2-7 off John is double 1-19. That's a 2-base hit. Good start. Alex Johnson, 68. Single off of John. And then the best start of the inning yet. Runners on the corners for Willie McCubby. 59, triple 1-5, single dot dot. That is single dot dot, and we got a ball game, and we have a pitching change. So Tommy John breaks in the 7th inning. He goes 6 innings, 3 batters, charged with the 2 runners on the bases. He can still get a win, cannot get a loss. And they are going to go to Ken Tatum in the 7th with runners on the corners. Ken Tatum in the 7th. And it'll be against Buddy Bradford. Runners in the corners playing back. 6-10, Bradford. Oh boy, triple 1-18 off the Tatum card. That's a 3-base hit. That's a tie game. Well, that was pretty easy. Down 3-zip. They just rip off 4 straight hits and tie the thing. Infield's up for Jim LaFay. 53, right X. Retman's a 2-E8. 2. And he gets the fly ball 9. That helped. Ball was not hit deep enough. So Bradford stays at 3rd. Infield is still up for Paul Blair and A. Bunner. But 2-8, Paul Blair, double 1-11. That's a double, and your Missoula Mountaineers have come back. Down 3-zip to take a 4-3 lead in the 7th inning. It's Tony Taylor, 6-10. Up that triple 1-18 again, and he hit it again. So we're hitting these triples off of Ken Tatum's card, as he's been pretty horrible, actually. It's now 5-3. Got a runner at 3rd with 1 out. They'll bring the infield up for Marty Martinez. Pops to 2nd. And with 2 outs, Sal Bando grounds to 3rd. They bat around, score 5 runs, take a 5-3 lead, and now they're looking to bring some defense into this game. Luis Alvarado will come in and play short. He's a 3 shortstop versus a 4. Let's see. Paul Casanova will come in and bring his -2 arm in at catcher. Plenty of defense to bring in here. You want to bring in Oscar Gamble? Sure, he's a 3 outfielder. Better than Alex Johnson, who's a 4. Yeah. I'll go to left field where Alex Johnson was. Josephine will be your DH. There you go. All new, 3 new players. And Woody Fryman has a 2-run lead and a new leash on life. He'll continue. Coco LeBoy, 46, is a walk. Wes Parker's your tie run. 2-6 is a 6-4-3 double play. And with 2 outs, it's Kessinger. 35, triple 1-2 is a base hit. And Retman. 2-10, grounds to short. We go to the 8th inning of a 5-3 game. Let's see, Ken Tatum. He bought his big old can of kerosene in there for that inning. Let's get him out of there. Let's go Grant Jackson in the 8th. In a 5-3 game, Grant Jackson. It'll be Josephson, who started off last inning with a double. 37, single 1-19, single. Gamble against the lefty, not very good. 55, short X. Kessinger, 2-28. That's a ground ball A, double play. I want 2 outs. It's in the wrong spot. Put it here for gamble. I want 2 outs, McCovey. 2-11, rolls to first. All right, 5-3, bottom of the 8th. I think we're going to turn this over to the bullpen too. Woody will leave after 7 innings, giving up the 3 runs. Don McMahon in the 8th and Brewer in the 9th, more than likely. Here's Don McMahon, who was a giant closer. In 71, he was 10-6 with a 4.06 ERA. And he will face Killebrew. 35 is a K. Hal McRae, 37, flies left. And Larry Howard, 210, is a strikeout. Oh, we'll go to the 9th. We'll keep changing pitchers. We'll go Bill Lee in the 9th. Bill Lee with the 71 Red Sox, 9-2, 2.74 ERA is a relief starter. But Boston doesn't really consider him with this card because they have him later as a starter on 3 days rest, and that's the card they're going to use in 73 or 4. So in the 9th, it'll be Buddy Bradford, 6'11", left X. Hal McRae's a 3.12, and he can't make a catch on that. That's a double. Casanova now in the 9 spot, 45, 1-1-5 off of the Spaceman is a single. It is 6-3, and the fans are booing and exiting the ballpark as they blew this game. Paul Blair, 110, that's a single. 2-1, nobody out. Tony Taylor, 32, left B. Alvarado, 46, that's a double and 8, that's another single. That will score another run. That'll score Casanova. Runners on the corners for Bando, playing back. 6'10, short X. Kessinger's a 2.28. Can he make a play? He does. Gets a double play ball. All right. It is 7-3, and making this much worse for SeaTac is that the Missoula squad will bring Jim Brewer into the game. Now Brewer has a 72 card in the Summer League, but in 71 he's still brilliant. 6-5 with a .89 ERA in 81 innings. My goodness. Bobby Knoop, 45, double 1-7, doesn't get it, flies to the left. Rick Monday, 2.8 a K. Coco LaBoy, 45, double 1-7 again. This time he gets it. Wes Parker, 67, is a K. And Missoula fights back and evens the series at 2 games apiece. So I'll play a game 5 back in Missoula, and at the end of the video, we will do an elimination for one of these 2 teams. We don't know which one yet. Bill Lee in the 9th, 4 hits and 2 runs. Grant Jackson in the 8th, a hit and a double play. In the... yeah. 1, 2, 3 hits and 2 runs for Ken Tatum. He'll take the loss. Tommy John gets no decision. He's up 8 hits total and 3 runs. He had a shutout, but he's charged with those 3 runs in the 7th. No walks and 3 strikeouts. Woody Fryman hung around long enough to get the win. Jim Brewer gets the save, give up a hit and 2 strikeouts. McMahon was fine. 2 strikeouts as well. Good relief pitching. Woody Fryman, 8 hits and 3 runs. It all came kind of early. It was earned. 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. 1019, 0109. 71639. 0347. That is game 4. Take a look at the composite box for both squads. Neither team, remember this is a loser's bracket and they split these games, so these teams will have, even whoever wins this series is going to bring a losing record into the remaining part of the tournament. So let's see here. They were 2-4 to start, so that means they're both 4-6. And here they are, 4-6 through 79 games. Let's start with Missoula. 4-6, they're hitting .271, but they've got a 7.38 team ERA. 7.38, that's hard to do in 10 games, but they have. Bill Hands is 0-3, giving up 27 runs in 16 innings. That's pretty horrendous. Woody Fryman has a win. Bob Johnson's got 2 wins. Offensively, though, We got a nice tournament out of Sal Bando, 14 for 37. And SeaTac is hitting .216 with a 5.52 team ERA. Let's see, who's doing well here? Oh, 16 hits for Hal McRae, 16 for 41 for the SeaTac squad. Both teams are 4-6, which means one of the teams will advance in the tournament with a 5-6 record. The other team will be eliminated with a 4-7 record. That's it for now. We will have the elimination video at the end. We'll see you soon. Well, welcome back, baseball fans. And the SeaTac team ended up losing the series. Missoula. What am I saying? Missoula lost the series. They went to Game 5 back at home, and they lost. So Missoula is out, 4-7 in the tournament. They had some nice performances by some interesting players looking to get some exposure. Dwayne Josephson had a nice tournament, 344 with power. A lot of power on both sides of his card as a 245 hitter, but I think he could be a fun, interesting keeper. We'll look and see what team he's a keeper for. Alex Johnson's a waived player at a nice series. Bando, probably his best year for Oakland would be 71. You could argue in one of the other years during the dynasty, but it could be that. And the rest of the cards, McCovey had a bad tournament, obviously. But, he actually has a better year in the future as he gets older than 71. 71, though, he still destroys righties, not so much against lefties. In the bullpen, Bob Johnson has had an interesting career in the carryover league. He has played for Kansas City. He's played for Texas. I think he's on Houston now. Is a very capable starter, but he had a 2-1 record in the tournament. Bill Hands had a forgettable tournament, and I don't even think he's a keeper. And the team ERA was terrible, 7.26. But you get these blowouts, and it just ruins your team ERA. Alan Foster, now he's a guy who was making an audition here as an undrafted free agent. Threw 11 innings, got 18 hits, pretty awful in 2 starts. I want to say I got him 3, but I think I only got him 2. He was your number 4 starter, and they had only 11 games. So Foster only got 2 starts through 11 innings. He got knocked down to 1. It's a shame, but that still doesn't mean he would not be in the summer league because he played so poorly here. But it didn't, sometimes you make a big impact here. You want to carry that into the draft and go, hey, let's get Alan Foster in the league. And other reasons you go, oh, maybe not. So now let's take a look at the actual stats for Missoula for the 1971. The yellow codes are the 4 waived players: Paul Casanova, Alex Johnson, Jim LaFay, Jim Bunning. We'll analyze their cards momentarily. They had a lot of keepers here. Bando, these are critical keepers for their teams too. Bando to Oakland, Paul Blair for Baltimore. Whichever year they pick is very important for these perennial World Series teams. Dwayne Josephson has a really nice card for Kansas City as a catcher, which is good to know that they don't have a weakness at catcher. They also have a left-handed hitting power catcher on that team. Marty Martinez. You see William McCovey here, Tony Taylor, Bob Johnson, Don McMahon. So a lot of keepers. We'll look at each one. The carry-on guys, Buddy Bradford. The White Sox are happy with a power-hitting Buddy Bradford from 73 that they're using. Bill Hands. Now, this is an interesting player. He had a horrendous tournament. Terrible. But Texas could go retro with this 71 card because he can pitch on 3 days rest if that's something they need. And they might need it. So that is something to consider. Do you want Bill Hands to pitch on 3 days rest? Then retro improve him to a 71. Because beyond 71, he can't pitch on 3 days rest. Woody Fryman and Jim Brewer already have better cards in the future, which gives us our UDFAs: Louis Alvarado, Oscar Gamble, Alan Foster, we just spoke of. None of those guys are amazing, as you'll see soon. The one guy in purple there, Al Kloster, actually did not have a Strat-O-Matic card. His card was written into the league. You'll see an example of that. So with that, let's now take a look at the Missoula stack of cards. We'll begin with the 4 guys that they have on waivers. And the first guy is Jim Bunning. It was very kind to put him on waivers. He probably should have been out of baseball in 70 or 71. He's very old here. For the Phillies, 5-12, 548. He's on waivers. I doubt he gets taken in the Summer League, though. He's not very good. Jim LaFay is a decent card. He's only on waivers because both the White Sox and the team they traded him to who put him on waivers, which would be the Giants, had better options in the infield at second and third base. So what you're looking at is a power-hitting second baseman, third baseman switch hitter. And as such, these guys usually find a way of getting into the league. Now, it's 245, but 12 home runs and 388 at-bats. So if you don't want him as a full-time player, and I can understand the Dodgers not wanting him anymore either, because they're going to have Davey Lopes or Ted Sizemore. But somebody should think, you know, a switch-hitting, power-hitting infielder at 2 positions is worth making on the roster. So I think LaFay will find work. Alex Johnson had a nice tournament, and he can still... Look, he hit 329 in 1970, so it's obviously not that. He's down to 260. So the big drop-off is why he's here on waivers. But as strictly a hitter and a designated hitter, he's fine. You don't want to put him in the outfield. But for a team looking for a DH, he would be fine. He can run the bases as well. A little bit of power, but mostly for batting average. Paul Casanova, and his defense is important. He's got a -2 arm. Having a -2 arm can get you into the league. The stick is clearly not there on either side. Brings you nothing else besides defense and power. He had 5 and 311 at-bats and a 203 batting average for the Senators. If you need a -2 arm and you have nobody else, then you go for this guy. But there's, yeah. All right, now the keepers. And this is going to be interesting. Don McMahon has an ERA of 180 in one of his future years, I believe 73 or 74. So they'll probably take that over this, where he's 406. Here's Big Aim Bob Johnson. Doesn't pitch on 3 days rest anymore, but has a nice year. This was with the Pirates in 71. Would have gotten a World Series ring with the Pirates with this card. He is property now of his most recent team. He's been on 3 teams in 3 years. This is with Houston now. And I think it might be this card. I don't think he gets any better in 72 or 73. Tony Taylor, he's got a 300 card in one of the other years. This is very good. This is a 287 card in multiple positions. As a Tiger, by the way. But I think he's got a 300 year with the Phillies in 72, 3 or 4. So I would take this. You're going to find a good card for Tony Taylor in probably 3 of the 4 years. Here's the McCovey card, where you think it's his last good year because he crushes righties and not so much against lefties. But he actually has a decent year in 73 or 74. So that's what he's in competition with. By the way, he's an E25 first baseman, so that's not very good. A very versatile Marty Martinez, a switch hitter who can catch and play the infield and the outfield. And this card gets into the league. It's property of Florida. And Florida will use him all over the place. Actually, it's a rebound because in 70, he hit like 211. He hits 258 here, and it looks even better. Even when he doesn't hit righties well, he hits extra base hits. Mentioned Josephson in the first part of this. Plenty of power. Look at the homers there on 5 and over here. They gave him a 0 arm, which is fine. The batting average isn't great. A 0 arm catcher with plenty of pop. And you look at these homers, it's 10 and 306, so, you could make him a full-time catcher. He'd be pretty weak as a full-time catcher, but he should at least be in the league as a platoon. He's property of Kansas City. Now, here's a Bando card, and I particularly like this one. I would not be normally crazy about that 1-5 fly ball the rest, but he makes up for it with so many walks. And against righties, which is more important, he doesn't have an out over there. It's a very solid year in 71 for Bando. 24 homers and a 271 batting average, 86 walks. I'll look in the dynasty years. One of the dynasty years, I think 72, he's pretty bad. It's like 230. So this is from a year where the A's did not win the World Series. This is a pretty good Bando card. One thing that bugs me about Paul Blair's card here is they, have the S there for switch hitter, which we know he was not. Well, give Strat-O-Matic a break, folks. This was the very first year. This is the inaugural super advanced, the first time they printed on both sides of the card in the year of 71. So I'll give him some mistakes. He's a right-handed batter. He's consistent with his defense and his speed. This is okay. He has a year with more power, and he has a year with more batting average. So this is like the Parge, the Goldilocks for him. All right, now you've got your carry-on guys, which means that these guys have better cards in the future. Jim Brewer has an insane card in 72. There's nothing over here. It's all outs. That's the card we have, and that card's going to remain. Woody Fryman's got an ERA of 2 for the Tigers in 72. It's 3.38 here for the Phillies. This is the Bill Hands we talked about. Can pitch on 3 days rest, and that is the reason why you would, if you were the Texas Rangers, do this, as opposed to, I think they have a 73 card in the league. So if the Rangers, who lost Bob Johnson in a trade, are looking for a guy to pitch on 3 days rest, they might want to upgrade to this Bill Hands card. And Buddy Bradford, not this one. It's a pretty bad card there. It's just 200, and the White Sox are happy with one of his future cards. This brings us to the UDFAs. Louis Alvarado, did he show much in this tournament? Well, first of all, he's a 3E29 shortstop, which is nice. If there isn't any better defensive shortstop that available, then I guess you'd take him. If you had to play him, I'd only want him to hit against righties, which isn't bad. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He hits about 260 against righties, maybe 250. Overall, a 216 hitter for the White Sox. And he is what you call a jag, just a guy. Oscar Gamble still does not have it together yet. He does not do what he would do later in the decade. But he can field. He's the 3 with the -1 arm. Just not enough juice here. I mean, just not enough. He needs to do more than that. It's 221, so I don't think this card gets in the league. Here's Alan Foster. Remember we said he had a couple rough starts, but you look at the card and you're like, hey, this guy's pretty good. Nothing wrong. I mean, this is a totally capable number 3 or number 4 starter for most clubs, at least expansion team maybe. 4.15 ERA in 182 innings. Nothing really looks awful here. It's not a bad split. Not too much of anything. Little home runs and walks against lefties, I suppose. Relief 4, make him a long man out of the bullpen. I think Alan Foster gets into the league because, again, we're in an era where we don't have enough baseball teams. We only have 24 major league teams, and I got 32 in the league. And then the last card, remember I mentioned Al Kloster, and this is what happens when you don't have a Strat-O-Matic card. I do write his stats in. He was a Yankee, and he had a 5.08 ERA in 28 innings, as you can see, and he threw with his left arm, which is very important. So that's the Al Kloster card, and that will not get into the league. That card's usefulness was just for this little tournament. So that's it tonight, folks. We've eliminated Missoula, and at this point, we will go into the round of 3 next time we have a game. Thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.